snare? Shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth a snare? Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Now, today is recognized as Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 of the Gregorian calendar. Now, it is now that you gather yourself in troops. Gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us, as I made it clear in my previous video, under the word hidden under twinkling. That's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 52. In this video, I reveal that they, which are those that shall change, be changed in the twinkling of an eye. Now you're about to find out who we are. In the meantime, as we go on now in this video, they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Yehudah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, and that is the Christ, the Messiah. He is the one whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. And he shall stand and feed in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord, his God, which is Yod, the name Yod. And they shall abide, for now shall be the end of the world, when this comes to pass. For now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth. And this man shall be the peace. This man shall be the peace in the last days, at the end of the world, unto the ends of the earth, where there shall be a war in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, between the United States and Iran, where the Assyrian dwells. When the Assyrian shall come into our land, the land Israel, and when he shall tread in our palaces, as they are doing now, he of the United States of America, and he of the false claims, the false dwellers of Israel, under their Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. I repeat, those that are over in the Middle East today, under the leadership of one whom is known as Benjamin Netanyahu, they are not the original tribe of Yehudites who are calling themselves Jews. They are not the original Israelites that belongs in that land. They are today known historically and biblically as the synagogue of Satan. They are the synagogue of Satan. just as I promised that I would make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not. And to make it clear, that is recorded in the book called Revelation in chapter 3 and verse 9. And that reads, as I quote, "Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee." End quote. Now, to understand this cryptic prophetic revelation, you must first find out what does the word Jews, or the noun Jews, where did that originally come from? So let's go over to the book called Wikipedia, online Wikipedia, an encyclopedia, a free online encyclopedia, and go under the word or noun Jews. And when you do, that will take you to the original Hebrew name that's known as Yehudah. Yehudah. Again, I repeat, that's Yehudah. And that is spelled with 5 Hebrew characters, 5. And one of the 5 is positioned twice. And they are from right to left. Yod, Hey, Wav, Dalet, Yod, Hey. I repeat, that's Yod, Hey, Wav, Dalet, Yod, Hey. And as you can see here in Wikipedia, it is spelled a different way, ending with Mem Sophi, to pronounce Yehudim. And why would they do that? Because that too is prophetical and historical. That's found in Romans chapter 1 and verse 25. That reads, they changed the truth of God into a lie. And that's they changed, not who changed the truth of God into a lie. They changed. Although the book of Romans is telling you who they are. And if you read that, again, who changed the truth of God into a lie, the way it's printed in the King James Version Bible, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. So it's telling you the Romans are the one who changed the truth of God into a lie. They did. How is that? It began in 70 A.D. when they took the land away, when they invaded the land of Israel, of Yehuda, of Judea. They invaded the land in 70 A.D., the Romans, and they took the land away from Yehuda, and therefore became the Jews of Yehudim, just the way it's spelled here in Wikipedia. Again, in Wikipedia, they spell it from right to left. Yod, Hey, Wav, Dalet, Yod, Mem Sophi, to pronounce Yehudim, as it says, the Israeli pronunciation, Yehudim, or the Jewish people, which are an ethno-religious group and nation, or of Israelis. Now, Yehudah, which they also say is the original Hebrew, according to the Wikipedia, says that they are an ethno-religious group, and nation, originating from the Israelites of ancient Israel and Judah. They traditionally adhere to, and they put Judaism, which is not true. There are no religions in Israel. Israel does not believe in religion, nor religious productivity that was created by the world. Nevertheless, this encyclopedia also goes on to say that the Israelites emerged from the pre-existing Canaanite peoples to establish the kingdoms of Israel and Judah in the southern Levant during the Iron Age, etc. End quote. Now, that means that since the word Jews originally come from Judah or Yehuda, now you must comprehend and understand that Judah are a tribe of Israel, the fourth son of Israel, the fourth tribe, that were promised to go into captivity. And they did during the 16th century that began, even as early as 1505 in some places. But in the United States today, called the United States, the first Negro slave was Judah, Yehuda, sold in 1555 in Florida. Now, when you go to the Bible, go back to the Bible, and when it's revealed in the days that what color Judah would be and skin complexion, then you would know that Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9 would be fulfilled. So let's first go to Jeremiah in chapter 14 and verse 2 of your King James Version Holy Bible to get a complete description, according to the Bible, of what skin complexion that Judah is today and remain. And according to Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2, that reads, as I quote, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. End quote. So here you see in the Bible that the entire tribe of Judah are black unto the ground. That means from their head to their feet. They are a black tribal Israelite group of people, and not light-skinned or pale or pink as you see those that are over in the Middle East now that are calling themselves Jews or Israelis are not. This means that I have already made them. I have already made them. I made them. They are now the synagogue of Satan. And that's proven in Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. And that reads, as I quote, You see, I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty. But the so-called Negro slaves, here's a special message to you. Thou art rich. And I also know, the blasphemy of them which say they are Yehudites, which say they are Judah, which say they are Jews, and are not, which say they are Israelites, and are not. And that is why they say they are Israelis. They are Israelites. But they are not Israelites. They are not Israelites, but are the synagogue of Satan. They are the synagogue of Satan. End quote. So as I further conclude this subject, in verse 10, Yehuda, Judah, you so-called African-American people that are here in the United States and abroad in other countries and islands of the Caribbean, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil has cast some of you into prison, and will continue. He shall cast some of you into prison continually, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days before you are able to bond out. But be thou faithful unto death, and I promise you that I will give thee a crown of life, such as you see on our heads today. It's prophetical. Now, as we continue, this man shall be the priest in the last days at the end of the world, unto the ends of the earth. Then, and only then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men all of NATO. Taken from the King James Version Holy Bible, the 1611 edition, in the 33rd book in the Bible, right in the middle of the Bible, called Micah, in chapter 5, and verses 1, 2, 4, and 5. And furthermore, in verse 5, I repeat, Micah chapter 5 and verse 5, in part that says, I quote, "And this man shall be the peace," end quote. And which man would that be? That would be the very same man that was promised to come, that's revealed in verse 2, that shall come from everlasting, and that would be Micah himself, who's known as a minor prophet. However, throughout history, Micah carried numerous appellations and identities incognito. This means that Micah will return as the man of peace. And peace comes from the Hebrew name and word known as Shalomo or Shalom, or even in English, Solomon. Solomon, Shalomo. And that is proven in your James Strong's Exhaustive Concordance under reference H8010. I repeat, that is proven that Micah, who is called Micah, the Morasite, he is the man, peace. He is Shalomo. That's proven in the James Strong's Exhaustive Concordance under reference H for Hebrew, 8010. Shalomo. And it's spelled from right to left, Sheen, Lamed, Mem, Hey. Shalomo. And it comes from the etymology under reference H7965. And that is spelled from right to left, Sheen, Lamed, Wav, Mem, Sophie. That means shalom. It also means, in English, peace. Peace. In other words, and throughout history, that was also promised today, the last days, according to Matthew of the same Bible, in chapter 12, and verse 42, that says, as I quote, "The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and a generation is 40 years, that began in 1986, 40 years, this generation, and shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, a greater than Solomon is here today. The Christ of the God of the Hebrews, is here, as promised. And to make it absolutely clear, he's also known as the tabernacle that is with man. According to Revelation chapter 21 and verse 3, the tabernacle of God is now with man on this planet. How would you know that he is the one promised? Because the tabernacle will come out of a womb and made flesh on a particular day in history and of prophecy that's known as the tabernacle, the Feast of Tabernacles. And that would mean that the man peace, Shalomo, the Christ, Micah, will be born from a womb in a land where the Bermuda Triangle points to the west from the east. And the Bermuda Triangle is pointed northward to Bermuda and southward to Puerto Rico. But the west point points to the west, right to Miami in the south, the same south that the Queen of the South shall rise up in the judgment with this generation. And the Queen of the South is also known as the sun-clad woman, which is a metaphor and an allegory for the man piece. The queen, the woman, according to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 1, the sun-clad woman, the queen, it's a metaphor. This means that in that land, in the south of the United States, the state called Florida, the city of Miami, that man would come out of a womb on the 15th day of the 7th month, according to the law, according to prophecy, according to what was found in the book called Leviticus, in the very same Bible, in chapter 23 and verse 34. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24. And that reads, as I quote Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 34, "Speak unto the children of Israel," and that is the true Israel, not those in the Middle East today. Those are the true Israelites that are here with the man in the United States that's called Yehuda. Yehuda, the lost tribe of Israel, that were taken captive during the 16th century that began, and brought as Negro slaves on slave ships. The children of Israel, the tribe of Yehuda, speaking to the children of Israel as I am speaking today, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. End quote. Those 7 days is a metaphor that represents 70 years. That one would come out of a womb on the 15th day of the 7th month. And those 70 years began in 1954, according to the Gregorian calendar. Also, according to the Gregorian calendar, the 15th day of the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar is the same as September 27th of the Gregorian calendar. It being that September, septem means 7, the 7th month. The original 7th month, September, Octo, is 8. That means that the one whom my people today are still calling, and I quote, Yahweh, Ben Yahweh, end quote, was not born on the 15th day of the 7th month. He was born as Hulon Mitchell Jr. on the 15th day of the 8th month of the solar calendar. That's the same as October 27th of the Gregorian calendar, 1935. That means he could not be the one. Those 70 years from 1935 ended. I repeat, could not have been Hulon Mitchell Jr. that was born on October 27th, 1935, or the 15th day of the 8th month, 5938. Why? Because those 70 years from 1935 would have ended in 2005, the very same year when I made it clear to those in New Orleans, Louisiana, when I visited that city during the first week of August 3rd, 2005, I visited New Orleans, Louisiana as I flew from the Bahamas, the island that's called Nassau. I flew from that airport to Miami, MIA, and caught a connecting flight to New Orleans, Louisiana on August 3rd. You can check my passport. And I walked downtown Canal Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I walked downtown for several hours, and I warned the people that I was going to send a terrible storm that way. A terrible hurricane is headed your way, I said to those people. I took literature, and I placed it in the hands of many as they threw it to the ground, and I warned them, a terrible hurricane is coming this way, and they ignored me. They ignored me, Micah. So I flew back. I stayed for 24 hours in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I flew back the next day to Miami. And I flew back to the Bahamas, to Nassau, and I waited.
Edition. And research this truth for yourself. Then you will discover and you will awaken to the true fact that this being the year 2005 and the letter J was just created on the planet Earth.
I waited for 3 weeks. I waited. And finally, after the 3rd week of August 2005, for the first time in the history of this world, a whirlwind formed off the coast of where I sat in the Bahamas. First, a tropical wave, and then a tropical depression, and then a tropical storm. And when it reached 74 miles per hour, the meteorologists of the world, of the Atlantic-based hurricane season, they named that storm Katrina. The first time in history that a storm formed in the islands of the Bahamas, 100 miles off the coast of where I sat on that island. Never before did that happen. Do you not know the mystery of Nahum, chapter 1? Do you not know who I am? No, you do not know who I am. And that's why I'm announcing to this planet today who I am. I'm known by many appellations. But more than anything, I'm known as the Christ. I'm known as the Son, the God of Israel, of the Hebrews. You see, according to Nahum chapter 1 and verse 2, God is jealous. I am jealous of anyone that would want to come and portray me as the Christ. I warned my people thousands of years ago that they would do it. They would do that. In Matthew chapter 24, many shall rise, many false Christs shall rise in my name, saying, I am Christ. They will even disguise themselves in a Photoshop as the Christ, healing the sick in hospitals, wanting to be me. And though they would do that, the Lord revengeth. Vengeance is mine. The Lord revengeth, and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. Nahum chapter 1, verse 2. In fact, the Lord is slow to anger, slow and great in power, and I will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord has his way in the whirlwind that's known as hurricanes and tornadoes today, and blizzards.
Slammed into northeast Ohio first, hitting Solon, Bedford Heights, and surrounding areas with intense force as severe thunderstorms swept through, unleashing damaging winds and widespread disruption, leaving residents facing sudden chaos and costly destruction.
in the storm, even a rainstorm, even a hailstorm in Michigan, and the clouds are the dust of my feet. He rebuketh the sea, and maketh it dry, and dried up the rivers in the Middle East, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at me, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at my presence. The hills that melt is called volcanoes. The mountains quake that are called earthquakes. Yeah, the world and all that dwell therein are going to become stubble. Who can stand before my indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of mine anger? My fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by me. Micah. I am strong, I am also good. I am good as a stronghold in the day of trouble. And I know them that trust in me. Reference verse 12. That's Nahum chapter 1 and verses 2 to 7. And furthermore, and in conclusion, I warned this planet about 4 days ago that I loosed the 7 angels with the 7 vials. I loosed them. I loosed all 7 angels, and each angel has their own vial that I found recorded in the book called Revelation, the last book that they placed in the back of the Bible. It is not the last book, and there is no book called Revelation. These are the revelations today. I am revealing them. I've loosened the seals. I've loosed the 7 angels and their vials. Now, I warned this planet that I even loosed the 7th angel. The 7th angel that poured out his vial into the air, according to Revelation chapter 16, verse 17. And there came a great voice out of the temple, as I am doing now, of heaven, from the throne, saying, it is done. What is done? I loose the angels, the 7 vials. And there were voices, and thunders, and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake that started already off the coast of Japan and China and Asia, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great, even a 10.5 on the Richter scale.
warned of an increased risk of a megaquake after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck last night. The rare warning has been issued to residents in 182 towns, thousands told to evacuate and seek higher ground.
Welcome back to the show. Well, Japan is at risk of a rare megaquake this morning after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake.
And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God. I remember you, Babylon. I remember you as Babyland, the youngest nation to become a nation of the United Nations in 1776. On July 4th, 1776, became a nation, a Babyland of NATO, of the United Nations, of the 195 nations of the UN. Came in remembrance of me, to give unto her the cup of wine, the cup of the wine of the fierceness of my wrath. And soon every island would be fled away, and the mountains were not found any more. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, that fell in Michigan on April 21st and April 22nd, 2026, and men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great, as never before seen on this planet.
But these aren't your everyday floodwaters. The river is carrying huge chunks of ice, and that ice is being pushed right into, and in some cases, through homes.
These chunks are massive and heavy, and as you can see, they're big enough to take out walls.
We talked to Christopher Narcissian, who grew up along the Black Lake.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You'd think we were hit with a hurricane, an ice hurricane or tornado or something. It just doesn't happen here.
The ice taking out windows, doors, and walls. Most residents evacuated once the river began to rise. Sheboygan County Sheriff's Office says no injuries reported as a result of the water levels or ice moving ashore.
And I warned you that it was going to happen. I am he, I am the one whom this entire planet is waiting for it to come. I'm here. The 70 years are up. It started in 1954, not 1935. I gave a sign of 1935 to 2005 of Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina in 2005 was deadly, devastating, expensive, expansive, and powerful. On August 28th, Hurricane Katrina reached Category 5 strength in the Gulf of Mexico. With wind of 175 miles per hour, it developed a huge eye, seen here from a NOAA Hurricane Hunter airplane. On August 29, 2005, Katrina made landfall in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as a Category 3 with winds near 125 miles per hour. Many weather instruments were destroyed by storm surge or high wind, so we will never...
And now I also gave a sign from 1954 to 2025. And after September 27 of 2025 is when my plagues began and the vows of the 7 angels were loosed. You'd better come to me and submit and confess and tell my people who I am. I am just beginning. I am just beginning to the end. I am Solomon. I'm known as Solomon. And you want to read from the book called 2 Chronicles, chapter 7.
In the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord, and in his own house he prosperously effected. And the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said to him, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locust to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent to the prayer that is made in this place.
Why did you begin only at verse 11? Why did you read only from verses 11 to 22? Now, it's now in verse 1 when Shalomo had made an end of praying. Praying, that's praying. I am praying upon your minds. I am now praying upon this planet. As the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house, the White House, in Washington, District of Columbia. The glory did. Where's the glory? You call them UFOs today. You call them celestial spacecrafts from another world. UFOs. And the priests could not enter into the house of the Lord. You are false clergies, even the Pope Leo. You cannot enter into this house. Why? Because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. That's why I would give my glory to no other. My glory filled my own house, the Lord's house right here in Miami. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down, it's coming down, and the glory also, and the glory of the Lord upon the house, right upon the house, right above the White House, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worshipped and praised the Lord, Yod, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Just like recorded in Micah chapter 7 and verse 18, I repeat, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Not forever, but forever. You need to find out who ever is. E-V-E-R. Then the king, when you do, then you will find that the king and all the people offer sacrifices before the Lord. And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 ox. That's ox, that is the chromosomes of those that were chosen at the end, E-N. The ox chromosomes, man and woman at the E-N, the end, not oxen. You don't know the Bible. You don't know the codex and the cryptics that are hid in the Bible and the scriptures of prophecy. And 120,000 sheep. Those are not animals. Those are people. The same that are found in Revelation chapter 14. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of God. And the priests waited on their offices. The Levites also with instruments of music of the Lord, not to the Lord, of the Lord. As in, dun, 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 dun. Remember that? Listen. Dun, 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 dun. The music of the Lord. You heard it before. You made a movie of it. It's called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Dun, 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 dun. Which David, the king, had made to the praise of all the Lord's house, to praise the Lord, as David is doing today with the music in the Lord's house. Why? Because his mercy endureth, again, forever. And when David, that I call Dowd, praised, he praised by their ministry, and the priests sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel, all of it, all that are here with me, stood. Moreover, in verse 7 of 2 Chronicles chapter 7. You should have read this, but you cannot. It was not meant for you to read. It's meant for me to reveal today as I am here, hollow at the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord. For there he offered burnt offerings, and I'm going to burn offerings continually on this planet. Watch and see. And the fat people of the peace offerings, all the fat, all those that are overweight of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. Also, at the same time, Solomon Shalomo kept the feast 7 days of tabernacles. I just revealed, and all Israel with him, even on September 27th, 2025, all 7 days as the 70 years were up, in a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt, that I'm drying up. And in the 8th day, they made a solemn assembly as commanded in Leviticus chapter 23 and verses 35 and 36. For they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days, the Feast of Tabernacles, the time when I was born in 1954, when I came out of a womb in Miami of Florida. You can check my birth record. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, and verse 10, Shalomo sent the people away in their tents, glad and merry in heart for the goodness that the Lord had shewed unto Daud and to Solomon, Shalomo, and to Israel, his people. And today this world is celebrating that as Christmas Day, December 25th. Why? Why did you stop celebrating and worshiping the Christ on the 7th month and the 15th day? Why? And why did you begin your Bible reading at verse 11? Is it because you thought that Solomon finished the house of the Lord? You thought it was finished? And you thought the king's house was finished? It's not finished. I've returned. And all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord has returned with me, and in my own house, and I'm here, prosperously affected. I'm here. That's prosperously. Not prosperously. Prosperously. I'm going to prosper. I'm prospering. And the Lord appeared as I'm appearing right now. And I'm appearing every night. Every night I'm appearing. I'm appearing to my people. And I'm saying to my people today, even in this video, I have heard thy prayers, my people, and have chosen this place in Miami to myself for an house of sacrifice right here in Miami. You see, if I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I spend pestilence among my people, like I said I would do in Matthew chapter 24, there shall be pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. Well, the only way my people will survive my plagues of the 7 vials of the 7 angels, there's only one way, and that is if if my people, my people, which are called by my name, Yod, also Israel, my people that are called by my name. I didn't change Jacob's name from Jacob or Jacob to Israel. I said thy name shall be called Israel, not named Israel. I used Jacob to bring my people to me, which are called by my name, Israel. And if they come to me, I repeat, if my people, which are called by my name, mine, shall humble themselves, accept me as who I am, and pray, and seek my face, even on Facebook. Seek my face, either on Facebook or come to Miami and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven, right here on earth, and will forgive their sin and will heal their land that is being bombed right now by Iran. I will do that. I have the power to do that. And I'm going to. And that's all I have to say. For now. To wit, you cannot prove morally, righteously, and justly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I am not the son of the God of the Hebrews, until you can prove righteously, morally, justly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, who is the son of the God of the Hebrews.